Hi folks, how you doing? Well, for those who have known me for a good many years, this is a real shocker for you, I know that. And for those who don't know me don't know me for a period of time, it'll probably be very interesting. So for the people who know me for a long time, you better sit down because you're going to be really, I'm a baker. I became a baker very accidentally. It's a long story, but to make it short, we have a program here called the Franciscan Volunteer Ministries, which is a program basically for young people. I hate to say this, but the majority of people who come to us for this program are young people who just graduated from college and taking what they call now a gap year. Many of them taking the gap year, which is between college and a career. They volunteer to do hands-on service to the poor for a year, and that means, at least here in the inn, that means mopping floors, waiting on tables, cooking, all sorts of interesting things. The other three sites that the volunteer ministry have are a little bit more, shall I say, intellectual. Those students spend a lot of time teaching English as a second language, working in schools and such things. But it's a vibrant program, and with the downfall back in '07, I guess it was, when the financial crisis hit, the program became a little bit tight for cash. So I decided that I was going to learn how to bake, have bake sales, and help support the program. And the first time I started to bake, flour was all over the kitchen. I didn't know the difference between baking powder and baking soda. They all looked the same to me. Yeast was a complete mystery. But I had a lot of fun learning. And throughout the course of the years, I guess it's maybe 4 or 5 years that I've been doing this, something like that. I've learned how to make quite a number of interesting breads besides the basics. So that's what I'm going to do today, okay? I'm going to introduce you to some of the breads that I have made over the course of the years. I'm going to start off with, this is a great one. I love this. This is sourdough. It isn't San Francisco sourdough. This is more basic sourdough, and it's really tasty, hearty, bread. Has a lot of flavor, a lot of texture, really fun. And yeast, I learned, this is the bread I think I learned about yeast, letting it proof. The first time I said you have to proof the yeast, and I didn't know what that meant. I thought I had to call up an attorney and find out what it was, But anyway, proofing is very, very good. Warm water. That's another thing that I learned. It says warm water. I like to get my water for the yeast to about 115, 120, and put the yeast in there and let it ferment and let it proof. Don't rush the process. Let it proof. Let it be bubbly and nice and creamy on the top, and then you put it in your flour and let the enzymes do the work. That's another thing I learned. It's a living process. When you're baking, don't forget to give the dough, the batter, everything you're doing, tender, loving care. Everybody needs some TLC, and that goes for bread too, okay? Don't be sloppy with it. That's a sourdough. This is another sourdough that I really like to make. This is with white bread, okay? This is whole wheat rye sourdough. Whole wheat and rye bread, a mixture. And once again, it's really a nice thing. What did I learn about this bread? Yeah, I learned patience. Give the bread a chance to rise, you know, and let it do its work, and it'll come out all right. This is honey bread, a honey whole wheat. Nice. It's a nice thing. You know, I'm going to break a rule now. A lot of these breads are meant to be like toasted, like morning breads, things like that. But I break rules, and that's a good rule. But sometimes I'll tell you, if you want to make a sandwich, you're in a rush, and you have this bread, go for it. For me, it makes a great sandwich bread. This one, it's a Hungarian split bread. And you probably can't see it, but right here, it's split. Right? It's a nice hearty bread. I think it gets its name Hungarian. I think somebody's great-grandmother came over from Hungary, gave the person his recipe, and the person who got the recipe figured it must be Hungarian, so they call it Hungarian split bread. I have a suspicion, having worked with these, sometimes breads get names, not because they originate in a country or the particular country, but because of somebody's great-grandmother who came from Poland and gave the recipe, right? So, but it's good. This is a tasty bread. Put it on the table, slice it up. I'm a great bread fan, so any type of bread on the table is always good for me. This is a Polish rye. Small. It's a dense bread, but very good, very hearty. Once again, this is great. You get some butter, slap it on, sit back and enjoy your breakfast. If you like rye in the morning. Some people don't, I guess. But, and once again, you can make sandwiches out of this. Don't be too, go with your taste. Go with your taste. What else? What else did I make? Are those people who have known me for a long time, are you really impressed about this? Did you ever believe that this would happen? Huh? My goodness. And my mother was up in heaven. She and my father are having a blast. Every time I bake, I think of my mother and father up in heaven laughing at this guy who didn't even boil water when he was growing up. Oats and honey. If you like a sweet one, this is it. Really nice. Nice. The honey is not overpowering. That's another thing you have to be very careful about when it says honey or maple syrup, right? You're not supposed to overpower the bread with that taste. It's supposed to be like a ship in the dark. You know it's there, you know it's passing by, but you're not hitting the face with it, right? And that's the way you have to deal with this. It's very careful. The other thing that I found out about this is don't overmix. When I first started to cook, I used to really mix the heck out of out of the batter, thinking that that was a good thing. But then I found out that no, minimal mixing is the best rule. 9 times out of 10, your eyes will tell you when everything is combined. You know, you have your flour mixture, and then they tell you to put the yeast in, right, and squirt it around. Don't overmix. When you have a non-yeast bread, the same rule. Because what happens, it won't rise the way it's supposed to. Okay? And here is something. Now, I don't know, this is a very interesting little bread. If you like beer, this is the bread to have. Because this baby will burn your mouth out. It's Cajun 3-pepper. And you have 3 types of pepper in there. You have your green, your red flakes, and another one. Tabasco sauce, right? Or I like to use, instead of Tabasco, I use the hot sauce that you can get in any supermarket. The one that I really like is Louisiana hot. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but that really gives a kick. But anyway, this is a real beauty. This is rosemary. It's a southern recipe. You need a Dutch oven for this. It's rosemary olive oil bread, and it takes a little bit of time. What I do is I mix the batter, or the dough rather, and I put it in a Dutch oven and let it rest overnight. And usually that'll do the trick and right. It's not supposed to rise like ordinary bread, right? This is about the way it's supposed to look. Terrific taste, and I know our staff here, this is a bestseller, huh? This and the Cajun 3-pepper are the best sellers, huh? Everything is a bestseller. I put out all these breads, and they usually go on, and people like them. I'll make one of these for every bread sale, or maybe 2. I do a lot of quick breads that are also nice, but I thought for this purpose, showing the yeast bread would be challenging. This is what I want to leave with you, that making bread is also a time to have a retreat. It can be a prayerful time. Right? Just think of what you're doing, and what a great compliment that is to God, that all of these things, the bread, the yeast, sugar, everything that goes into this is a gift from God. And that, I don't know, he must have had something in his mind when he said, you take 2 cups of this, a cup of this, a sprinkle of that, and you're going to have something good. So when you're making bread, to thank God, to look at the flour, especially what sometimes recipes will call for, you have your flour mixture, and then it says put in the yeast, and it's not proofed, it's just right out of the packet, right? And I do that, and your eyes tell you that the flour is, still flour. But when you think about the enzymes and all these things that are working in there to bring new life, it's an amazing thing. And also the silence of baking. You're wrapped up in the project, and that's a tremendous silence that can come into your life. Huh? So it's more than just the physical act of baking. it can be a very prayerful time too. Finally, I want to say something about the bread sales. Yeah, that's what started off almost like a lark. You know, I got this idea, let's have a bread sale. So we had one, and I'm going to get very commercial now. We had one bread sale, and I think the first one made $100, maybe $200, something like that. And we decided that, hey, this might have something. So we went around to various churches, and I think the last bread sale we had, we made net over $3,000. So God has been good, and I think we have something that is really, in some way or another, in the will of God. And if nothing else, you're looking at me, and God is up there laughing, and he said, I really picked an imperfect person for this job. At the bake sales, the bread sales that we have, we don't charge for the bread. There's no price tag. It's all free will donation, whatever they want. And we did that thinking that, maybe there's a family out there, a big family, maybe $2 or $4 doesn't fit into that time of the month, and we didn't want to deprive anybody. So whatever you have, you can put in. And we've never regretted that decision. Never regretted that decision. For these breads, this type of thing, free will donations wouldn't be, I wouldn't do it. But there was, I'd have to have a base of what you're looking at now. I'd have to say minimal $20 for a loaf. And you can go to your bakery, a specialized bakery, and get the same thing for half that price. But it was a lot of fun. Okay? Okay, God bless.